Talk with Suzy, the first and only pharmacy-specific podcast for women, about women, hosted by women. As recently as the 1960s, women made up only 8% of all U.S. pharmacists. Today, that number has increased to over 55% of the women pharmacist workforce and 85% of the pharmacy technician workforce. With 2/3 of USD PharmD graduates being female, these numbers are going up. Welcome to RX Talk with Suzy. Your host is a pharmacist professional and educator, wife, mother, and the founder of Pharmacist Moms Group. RX Talk with Suzy is part of the Pharmacy Podcast Network. Now, let's talk.
Good morning, everybody. I am super excited for our show today. I have someone that I've been wanting to learn more about. She is someone that I connected to virtually on Facebook, and she is such a leader, an international leader in pharmacy. I'm very excited to have Hala Jawad on our show today. Welcome.
Hi, how are you? Good morning, everyone, and thank you for hosting me today. It's a big pleasure to be, from the UK. I'm here from the UK today, and you're hosting me from New York, isn't it?
Yes, so I'm all the way in New York, so it's pretty exciting to be talking to you. Where it's early in the morning here. I'm not sure. I'm sure you're close to the end of your day.
Yeah, so we are like around now 3 o'clock to 3 o'clock in the afternoon. So we still can say between afternoon and morning.
Exactly.
Just to make it more international anyway.
Exactly. So why don't you tell everyone a little bit more about yourself, your background, and even a little bit about your current role and what you do?
So, hi everyone, my name is Hala Jawad. I'm a pharmacist from the UK who's passionate about all things pharmacy. So I consider myself one of the lucky ones to have been involved in many other activities outside of a traditional pharmacy career. I've tried my hands at some media-related performances, and I've worked in community pharmacy setting and as well as GP practice pharmacist. But every role has been different. But equally vital to my learning process. So I have developed a special interest in public health and improving patients' outcomes. So this is just a brief introduction about who I am, what I do, and just about where I'm coming from today.
No, that's great. So tell me a little bit more about your current role and some of the skills that kind of got you to where you're at.
I think so. In my opinion, it's really important to network. So networking and being positive and enthusiasm towards the pharmacy profession. And I think so for me, it was giving back is so important to me because I get that sense of satisfaction from helping others. So I think so that's what I focus on through my career path. And that's what started to drive me from one role to another. And I started to become more and more involved in social media because of by my way in networking and building my skills through social media.
Yeah, social media has been great. I mean, even for myself, when I was struggling a couple years back as a pharmacist with work-life balance, social media really helped me with forming a network and finding other pharmacists that I could talk to that were also struggling or maybe had ideas and things. So I really value social. I mean, that's even how I met you. So I think, you get to meet new people, learn about what others are doing. And I think that's critical. And I agree with the networking too. That's very important as well. Did you think about when you graduated from pharmacy school that this is where you would be? Or, did this kind of just fall, into it on its own?
No, just fall on its own. So I graduated and then we were in a pharmacy Twitter chat, and then it happened through Twitter. It was 24 hours in pharmacy, the tweet chat was called. So I joined one of the tweet chat. At that time, I didn't know anyone. So I just put myself outside and I joined the Twitter chat, and then I got introduced to a lot of pharmacists. And that opened the opportunity for me to go to a very big conference, which is called the CPC Congress. And then eventually I started to cover in the show over there, the conference. And slowly, I started to get recognized on social media, and I started to build my skills slowly and learn and fail and progress. So that's how I started. It all fell by chance. I didn't plan anything. It just started like this. And I started into the position without even thinking about it. But in addition to social media, of course, it's opened work as well, opportunities for me. So I've got a career from working in a community pharmacy into a GP practice by, one of the tweet chats where I asked one of the GPs if I can locum for 1 week for free. And he gave me the opportunity to do that.
Oh, wow. That's great. Yeah, exactly. So sometimes it's like you ask someone and then there's an opportunity for a position. Even myself, when I first moved to New York from Chicago, I was looking for a job and I didn't even actually go online. I ended up just contacting others and saying, I just moved here. Do you know of any opportunities at your organization? And it worked a lot.
Yeah, you just ask people. When you ask people, one opportunity will lead to the other, to the other, to the other. And that's what I started 1 week in a GP practice for voluntary, and that opened the way for me to work in another company. So slowly, as I say, you build yourself up, you build your network, you meet people, and you keep on building up on that network, because it's really important to keep your, network and people that you know in contact with.
Definitely. So what are some of the biggest initiatives you're working on right now?
So I have askhala.com, which is, I'm a co-founder of askhala.com, which is, it's the first of its kind in pharmacy world. It's an online platform. You can check it on. So that was one of my first innovation I worked on. I'm a board member of the IFWIP, which is the International Forum for Wellbeing in Pregnancy. And we created history in December 2018 in the House of Commons. So I was lucky to be invited by a consultant, Raja. So I had a big opportunity over there to talk about the well-being in pregnancy. I'm an associate member as well for MORPH, which is a provide training for primary care pharmacists. So I chair as well the events in Guildford and Surrey. I'm a mentor as well for Pharmally. As well, I mentor other pharmacists who need some help and support. Keynote speaker for as well different events. I have a new event coming up as well for pre-registration pharmacist. I'm a Brighton Titan. As well, I was known as a very first pharma face and other stuff that I've been involved in. So this is just a many things I'm working on at the moment. But you have to keep all of this maintained as well. It's not just like, you have the things and you have to maintain them and keep on going with the stuff you're working on.
Yeah, no, exactly. Tell me a little bit more about askhala.com, because I think that's quite interesting for a lot of our pharmacy listeners or pharmacists. I think they would love to learn a little bit more about what you did and how you started it, and who it's really for. Who is the target audience for this?
So Ask Hala is basically more towards the public, to support the public. I think so the public always need that sort of information that covers, medication information, advice, and information on long-term condition, smoking cessation, sexual health and well-being, minor ailments, dementia, over-the-counter medication, and how to take medicine safely. It's really important to focus on what the public wants. And sometimes the public don't want to go like to pharmacy or something. They need something quick. They need a quick advice. They need something to support them a bit. And that's why I came up with this idea to think basically outside of the box, try to make some problem-solving issues. And that's how I came up with this idea.
No, definitely. It's a great idea. And I think a lot of people out here in the US as well would either like to help the public and start something, or maybe let people know about that. I love that idea and what you did with that. I think it's important. And then you do serve on a lot of different boards in a lot of areas. So I think that's great. You're very involved. And, how do you stay current, though, about what's going on in healthcare and even specifically in the pharmacy field with you doing and wearing so many hats that you wear?
I think so. In the past 5 years, pharmacy have been changing so much. There's a lot of changes have been happening. So we had pharmacists in GP practice, pharmacists in care homes, pharmacists in emergency care. So there is a lot of rules for pharmacists now. And we had then the GDPR in place, we had FMD in place, there's Brexit. There is a lot of changes. We have shortage of medication now. So we have a big, massive change in everything, I think, in the world. There's a lot of changes happening, and the changes are quite fast. And we have to keep on track. Otherwise, if we don't, then we don't know what's going up in the market. So the important thing how to keep track is I follow all the magazines in the pharmacy world. I normally as well contribute to a lot of the magazines in the past 4 years. And it's really important to read the updates, because every day if you read a mini update, you know what's going on in the pharmacy world. So that's what I do normally. I keep on track with what's going on by reading all the updates from the magazines.
Definitely. I do that as well. It's very helpful just to kind of, stay in tune. And actually sometimes even, again, going back to the social media, I'll look at what someone else might have shared. And
oh yeah, and Twitter, or that's where everything is happening normally, Twitter.
Exactly. But going back to what you were talking about with the different areas of practice and things like that, so a lot has changed in the United States as well. But for those of the listeners who aren't familiar with the UK, can you take us through what the schooling is for a pharmacist, and then what are the options, the career options now? I'm sure there are a lot more, as you mentioned, similar to the US.
So you mean careers? So pharmacy, as I said, through the past, few years, there's a lot of changes. So we have the rules had been extended. So you have pharmacists still working in community pharmacy, of course, hospital, industry, academia, prison, as we said, GP, what else? Care homes, A&E, emergency care. So there's a lot of rules there. Yeah. And we have as well pharmacists becoming independent prescribers.
Oh, okay. That's allowed then over there, because some.
Yeah. So we can be qualified as an independent prescriber. So you do a 6 or 4 months course, depend on the university, and then you be competent in whatever topic you want to be competent in. And then if you're competent in something else as well to prescribe, then you can do so as well.
Okay, great. And are the students earning doctorate degrees upon graduation as well from pharmacy, or is it a master's or?
So it depends what you want to do, basically. So we graduate as MPharm, and then it depends on your qualification and the accreditation that you want to take. You can upgrade your degree. It depends if you want to be a doctor or you want to be doing extra qualification or a clinical pharm. So whatever you want to do, there is always options. There's too many things you can. There's ACP as well. So there's too many things you can continue with the pharmacy and be more competent and qualified towards more and more, clinical stuff. But we're clinical anyway, pharmacists.
Yeah. No, that's great. So, because I think one of the things out here, a lot of the pharmacy students, they have to obtain the doctorate degree, and then they do something similar where they could either do a residency or fellowship training, or they could just enter the workforce immediately. So it's quite similar from those perspectives. I was going to ask you a little bit about being, a woman in pharmacy, and as you know, this show is really for women in pharmacy, and what does that mean to you, per se? Being a woman in pharmacy in the UK.
So I think still women are underrepresented in senior pharmacy and NHS roles. There's a PJ, which is a pharmaceutical journal article, which was published on the 8th of March 2018. So still, women are not still, presented as compared to male. But from the GPHC as well in August 2017, from the article of the pharmaceutical journal, that of 55,209 registered pharmacists, 61% were female and 39% were male. So we have more female graduating than male in that year. Yeah. But then the thing is, according to the registered pharmacists, but still, women are underrepresented in senior pharmacy and NHS roles.
No, amazing. That's very similar to the United States. So we have a little over 60% practicing pharmacists who are women. However, the senior positions, again, are more typically occupied by males. So it's been interesting. And that was one of the reasons for starting the show, was to kind of bring light to some of the issues that women face in terms of moving their career along and things like that. But, let's get back to you and some of the things about pharmacy and, what are some things that excite you about the future of pharmacy? There's so many people now, there's a lot of students in the United States. A lot more schools have opened over the past 10 years, and it's a lot more difficult to obtain work right after graduation. It's a lot more competitive. So, what's something that excites you about the future of pharmacy for those that are either just graduating or for those who are looking at all the new graduates and all the competition? What's some piece of advice you could offer to them about the future of pharmacy?
So I think so that digital technology will play a greater role in pharmacy in the future. And I think so it will enable staff to use their training more effectively towards reducing the burden on other healthcare professionals. So I think so the future will be looking more towards digital technology and using our skills to enhance it. So it's really, I think, so interesting because we can see the changes are really quickly happening. So as I say, in a world that changes are really quickly, the only strategy that is guaranteed is to fail is not taking risks.
No, you're right, exactly. Yeah, putting yourself out.
So leadership is not basically a static maneuver. So willing and able to navigate the team thoroughly through the change. So it's really important to move with the change, and it's not easy, but things are changing. It can be daunting, but if we have the proper management, it can go as a process to make it more better for everyone by creating a plan, understanding the end goals, communicate clearly, identify key players, delegate tasks, set realistic objections. So manage expectation and hold people accountable. So it's really important that we are in a world that's changing now, and we have to be going with the change. So do what you like. And I tell as well the newly qualified that to go to a pharmacy and see how pharmacy is before they go into pharmacy world, and talk to newly qualified young pharmacists, join forums, see how it is. And it's an interesting career. But that's my advice for everyone who wants to go as well into pharmacy.
Yeah, no, I agree with all of that. I think going back to the digital technology, I know for myself, technology scares me. So taking the risk, you're so right. It's just that you have to take the risk, you have to learn it. And I was always one to ask others, oh, help me with this, how do I connect this? What do I do here?
Yeah.
So it scares you, but you have to take the risk. I know even when I started this podcast show, it was like, oh, I'm going to have to, use this system, and I've never used it before. How, I need a tutorial. Can I, it was difficult. So I think, sometimes looking at the risk and, actually taking a risk, you learn. And now I'm a lot better, a lot more tech savvy. I think I switched over. The other thing was I switched from a Dell to a Mac, and that was a risk for me too. I was so nervous to my computer. But I agree with you. And I think that going back to the students too is looking at what are the opportunities and going to a pharmacy and working there or checking it out, observing to see if this is something that, that you really like or that, you'd be interested in. And what made you want to be a pharmacist? Was there something specific, or did you know you wanted to always be a pharmacist?
I always wanted to help people, and I always have interest in science. So I thought if I enhance the career in pharmacy, then I can help the people and I can do the thing that I love. And that's how it all happened. And that's why when I do my role, I do it with my heart, because I love what I do. And when you love what you do in life, you will go places where without you will be flying without wings. That's what I say. So you will go to places without even thinking, because the one opportunity will open the others. And I think so if we have good leaders, because leaders are really important in our career by supporting and helping as many pharmacists as possible in achieving their dreams and goals. That's another thing I forgot to highlight on. And ensuring that the voice of the profession is heard, providing assurance and leading in innovation. So I think so. It's a good leader should mentor and encourage pharmacists to engage and embrace modern technology by supporting the team with tools to share, innovate, and network. As I said, it's really important. So at the end of the day, as I said, I chose pharmacy career because my aim was to help people. And I always enjoyed public health. So that's why as well I'm running a campaign for swallowing difficulties. 3 videos have been published so far.
Amazing. That's great. Good for you. That's great. Exactly. You have to find what you're passionate about. And then once you do, I love what you just love what you do at that point. You know, I love how you phrased it, but I think that's so true. It's once you find that, you know, this is meaningful to you and this is not just getting up and doing it. You know, recently I went to a conference and the focus was about getting back to our roots and really thinking about why we became pharmacists and not just doing day in, day out, but really thinking about why you went to pharmacy school and finding that as your guide and in leading that every day when you're at work and when you're trying to work with patients or when you're trying to do something new. I'm just remembering, you know, why you did this. I mean,
my final year project was about motivational factors that affect pharmacists before, during, and after becoming a pharmacist.
Oh, yeah.
So I was looking at the intrinsic and extrinsic factors. And when you're driven by intrinsic, you always do it with your heart. But if you're driven by extrinsic, like money or something like that, when the money goes down, you think, oh my God, why did I choose pharmacy? So it depends how your motivation is when you chose pharmacy. Exactly. And that's why I've done my final year project about that sort of topic.
That's so great. That's perfect. I would love to share that somewhere on my website if you have that, because I think that is so true. You know, you have to really feel it, and then there, you know, it's amazing the difference. So, but one other question that I wanted to ask you was just some advice that maybe you would either tell your younger self or, you know, any other pharmacist who's out there that is starting their career, some of the new pharmacists. And I know you talked about leaders and things like that, how they can work to help. But what about someone who's just starting their career? What can they do? And, you know, what is some advice you might have told yourself?
So for me, when I started, I had to explore everything on my own, basically. So I went there and I pushed myself to the market. And I start to motivate myself. I failed several times and I'm still failing, but failure is the way to success. That's what I want to say. So when you fail, you succeeded. So when I started in a place where it was community, because I mean, that's where I can start. But no one knew that I'll be going from community to GP, because what happens in life when we start, we don't have the experience. I mean, anywhere you start, at the beginning, you have to have experience. And that's why when you go to a job interview, the first question they say, do you have experience? But I'm a newly qualified person. Well, you have to have experience. So that was one of the interviews I had in my beginning of my starting years. And I said, well, I'm newly qualified, you know. Said, well, you go and do some more experience and then come back and see me. So that was my first refusal.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
So I was lucky I was refused, because the thing is, it opened the door for me to go into something better. So even when a door closes, don't worry, guys. You know, others are meant to be better for you. So find your next opportunity and never give up if you had, you know, something close. So try, explore, learn, talk to friends, share ideas, network. Don't feel stuck in one place, because then you don't know what's going on. So for me, I moved around a lot to learn and educate myself and take the experience. So that's the way you can learn. You can have people to mentor you, which are more experienced. Even if they didn't, you just upgrade yourself, learn, you know, keep on learning, keep on doing things to keep on track, you know. You go to conferences to learn, to upgrade your skills. So that's how I learned, basically. I just keep in touch with everyone to see what's going on.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, you're spot on with the failures, and sometimes, you have to fail, and then it'll teach you to work harder, and then in the end, you come out a little bit stronger. So,
and whatever is meant to be would be at the end. So your destiny will always be your destiny.
Of course. In your career, it's not just, love life and things like that, I think when one door closes, looking at it like that wasn't meant to be, and that there might be something else out there. And, I work quite a few students. I have a few students who I come under me as, during rotations and things. And a lot of them say, well, this job is asking for experience and this job is asking for experience. And I'm like, well, just keep applying. You never know. Someone might say to you, and I once had someone say to me, I'm going to give you a break this time. I'm looking at what you've done, and I know I was looking for this type of experience, but based on, who you are, I'm going to try this out anyway. So I think that can happen to a lot of people if you just, you keep trying.
Yeah. Never give up. I know some people start to think it's getting harder and harder. I've been in so many places that I just wanted to give up. I don't want to do this anymore. And then it can be so tough. You can come to a point where it's really, really tough. And you think, I want to give up. And then you just think, no, I've reached this place. I need to keep going. So it's not easy, but anything that you need to reach in life, it should be hard work. It's not going to be like on a plate.
Yes, exactly. And it's appreciation versus like your expectations almost, really appreciating it. So I agree. Well, I'm so happy that I was able to have you on the show, and we would love to have you again to talk about other things. And I think it was great for our listeners to learn more about what's going on in the UK and just really about you. And they can check out your site as well and everything you've done. And but we're really happy to have you on the show today.
Thank you very much for hosting me. It's happy and pleasure. I know we went through things so quickly, and we talked about from leadership to the newly qualified and mix things up. But I think so. We just try to make a brief intro today about how things are going, because if you want to talk about things, there's too many things. We can talk till tomorrow about the funding cuts and the rule in depth and what's happening properly in the country. So it's a real pleasure for me to be today a guest, and thank you very much for hosting me.
Thank you so much. All right, have a great day.
Thank you for listening to RX Talk with Suzy. Please share this podcast on all your social media outlets and help us reach other women in pharmacy. Be sure to check out our website. Go to pharmacistmomsgroup.com.